of Gentiles that are mentioned in our scriptures. We just have to look carefully. The first one is pagan Gentiles, and the second one is Israelite Gentiles. The very ones that were prophesied that would go into the nations and become the fullness of the Gentiles. They would walk among the Gentiles. They would lose their identity, and then he would pull them back at the end of time. Amos chapter 9, verse 9 says, "For look, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among the Gentiles." That means that they are inside the Gentile homes. Greek Israelites, pulling this out of the New Testament, John chapter 7. I never read this verse the way that Yeshua gives this verse. It says, "Jesus therefore said, Yet a little while I'm with you, I go to him who sent me. You will seek me, and you will not find me, and where I am, you cannot come." And the response that the disciples are going to give is going to astound you, because they knew something that we don't. And because we don't understand it, we don't even recognize the power of it when he says it. It says it right here. This is their response. "The Jews therefore said among themselves, Where will this man go that we will not find him? Will he go to the dispersion among the Greeks?" Right there, to teach the Greeks. He's not talking about going to the pagan Gentiles. He's saying, will they not go to the house of Israel that's living amongst the Greeks, the dispersion? Certainly he wouldn't do that. They're unclean. Cornelius. Most of the people Paul was preaching to were the northern 10 tribes of the house of Israel, the Israelite Gentiles. It's all through the scriptures. We just have to look hard enough to see it. And when you see it, you realize that it's been there all along. Paul says this in Romans chapter 9, verse 24. "Even us whom he called, not of the Jews only, but also the Gentiles. As he says also in Hosea, I will call them my people who were not my people, and her beloved who was not my beloved. And it shall come to pass in the place where it was said to them, You are not my people, that there they should be called the sons of the living God." Whenever Paul quotes a verse, how many recognize we can't take it out of context? And the greatest rabbi that ever existed outside of Yeshua, in my opinion, my humble opinion, was the Apostle Paul. He certainly would not take it out of context. He's not pulling verses out of his head and taking them out of context. He knows that Hosea chapter 1 is all about the northern kingdom that would fall them ways into the Gentiles. And he said, and then the place that they were called out of covenant, and that very place he would bring them back and call them children of the living God. Romans chapter 12, "For when Gentiles who do not have the law by nature do the things in the law, these, although they not having a law, are a law to themselves, who show the work of the Torah written on their hearts." This is a Torah scholar, ladies and gentlemen. He is not a Christian. I hope that doesn't offend you. He was a Torah-based messianic scholar. People called him Christians, and he welcomed that title, but the reality is that he was someone who understood the front of the book. He knew the mission of his Messiah. Jeremiah 31:33, one of the most popular verses in all the scripture, says this, "But this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days." With who? House of Israel. "I will put my law in their minds and write it on their hearts." Look it up in Hebrew, ladies and gentlemen. You'll be shocked of what the word law actually says there. It is his Torah that he is putting inside of our minds and writing it on our hearts. "And I will be their God, and they shall be my people." What's the direct object of that entire sentence is his law. Because like Bill said, if you don't have something to fall back on, you will fall back.